Hello, everybody. What's going on? This is Ray Rout. Thank you for tuning in. And this live stream is to go over three today that I did over for the Dean Blundell Network. The first one that we're looking at is one I wrote about Deshaun Watson saying full year suspension for Browns. Deshaun Watson is a slam dunk. Here's what I wrote. At some point, there will be a resolution to the Deshaun Watson saga. Though this entire situation has been a content cow for me, I can't wait until it's over. It looks like things could move fairly quickly, and the NFL seems confident that Watson will be suspended for the season. Dov Kleiman tweeted out today, quote, a source tells PFN that a full year suspension for Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is a, quote, slam dunk. We're currently waiting to hear the decision from former New Jersey Attorney General Peter C. Harvey. Now, when the news of the lawsuit first broke, I took a cautious approach. There's a process, and we have to presume innocence. There is now enough evidence to assume guilt, and a 1-year suspension has to be the minimum penalty. Now, the NFL has been on the wrong side of history in cases like this. I was thrilled when they appealed Watson's 6-game suspension, handed down by an independent arbitrator. Everybody on the planet outside of the idiots in Cleveland who are supporting the a-hole knew 6 games wasn't enough. When I read Dov's tweet that the NFL believes an entire season is a slam dunk, it restored my faith in the battle of good versus evil. Now, Clee West responded to Dov's tweet saying, if this holds true, expect a federal lawsuit by the NFLPA. They'd be neglecting their judiciary responsibility if they don't. If approved, Watson would start week 1 and through the duration of court proceedings. Now, I normally would agree with this, but unless the NFLPA believes that it's a slam dunk for victory, Watson would lose a ton of money if he was suspended next season or beyond. Now, let's pretend that the court proceedings take the entire season. Watson plays and serves his suspension next year. He has a base salary of over $46 million next season. And even if the NFL handed him a $5 million fine this year plus a suspension, Watson is only giving up $6 million total. Browns fans are thinking about football, but with $46 million on the line, Deshaun Watson doesn't care about your Super Bowl dreams, Cleveland. Now, Supersonic Sandshrew 420 tweeted, we can sit here and argue about the cases like Josh Gordon and Calvin Ridley all day, but they are different cases. Fundamentally, Zeke got 6. 1 year for Deshaun is way less than it should be. Now, I don't disagree with this take. 1 year is light considering the lives that Watson has affected. However, the NFL is not the criminal justice system. Also, this holier than thou crap is getting really old. Like, not just in the Watson case, but like across the board. A 1-year suspension has been my benchmark since the beginning, and I'm not going to waver from that. People mess up. People ruin other people's lives. People are given second chances. I'm never going to be a fan of Deshaun Watson, but the NFL and their fans have forgiven Michael Vick, Antonio Brown, and many more names to count. Namonte tweeted, it's the right decision by the NFL, but it also totally undermines the third-party judge ruling. In this case, I could care less, but in the future, the judging ruling feels meaningless if they aren't even going to use it as a bar. The forgetting consequences. In a situation like Watson, where we're all pretty united outside of a few morons, what happens the next time somebody lets some air out of some footballs? Or what happens when an on-field incident is overturned by the NFL? The ugly truth is, the NFL appealing a case gave Roger Goodell all the power that he wanted. The NFLPA gained nothing when Rodgers could overrule the independent arbitrator. And it doesn't feel wrong in this situation, but I may be revisiting this blog next time it does. So we're going to move on to my next piece now, which says it turns out that Charlie Montoya wasn't the Blue Jays' biggest problem. Now, there were high, maybe even unrealistic expectations for the Toronto Blue Jays heading into this season. Toronto's still holding on to a wild card spot, but there's something off about the Blue Jays. One thing most Jays fans seem to agree on is firing Charlie Montoya solved nothing. Now, Sid Sixero originally tweeted Charlie Montoya wasn't the Blue Jays' biggest problem, and Andrew B. Scannion tweeted, "How can you look at the Kikuchi and Barrios contracts and conclude anything other than Ross Atkins has absolutely terrible instincts? The problem is they're too far down the road of his failed plan to build a contender. We just have to keep going." Now, look, when the Toronto Blue Jays hired Mark Shapiro as president, I was indifferent. When former general manager Alex Anthopoulos stepped down, I was incensed. When Shapiro hired Ross Atkins, I was dumbfounded. The Blue Jays were ready to go down the road that Cleveland did for years under Shapiro. The Blue Jays were going to become a good team, but never good enough. The Blue Jays, doing nothing at the trade deadline this season, has the telltale sign that Toronto's leadership didn't have the stones to the stones it takes to put a championship team on the field. Now, Rick Hughes said, "Agreed, pitching aside, this is the most lethargic-looking offense I've seen in a while. This team is heading in the wrong direction." Now, Shapiro and Atkins can't be blamed for the Blue Jays offense. From the top to bottom, Toronto should strike the fear into pitchers' hearts. But it's been slow. The big boys aren't stepping up when it's needed, and the Blue Jays' troubles go beyond a weak pitching rotation. Firing Montoya when Toronto had a winning record was a knee-jerk reaction to an overrated team losing. Bo Bichette, who's only 24 years old, has been under a microscope as the MLB has figured out how to pitch to him. We're watching a young player work through the growing pains of being a big leader. Blaming Montoya for, that is just stupid. Atkins promised something that he couldn't deliver, and now he's desperately looking for scapegoats. Ian Forbes tweeted, "It's too bad that Jays management didn't listen to the fans and give away the team for Soto. He's made such a winning impact on the Padres since arriving there. 1-5 is amazing." Now, Ian is having one of those "I told you so" moments. First of all, I actually agreed with not giving up the farm for Soto because I thought the Torontos needed to sell out on pitching. But Ian's response to Sid's tweet is what I call front office sycophant defending a regime that doesn't deserve it. The fans didn't set the expectation. Shapiro and Atkins did. Even with the Blue Jays in a playoff spot, they have failed. The Toronto Blue Jays front office doesn't deserve being defended. They made their bed, and now the rest of us have to lay in it. And the last piece I wrote is TFC fans are starting to dream of the MLS playoffs. Now, Toronto FC needs to keep winning and a lot to happen. The 3-1 victory over Portland Saturday night has given TFC fans hope that the MLS playoffs can still be a reality. Fozzie Mana says, "Is it too early to dream? Most pundits had already moved past the season for TFC, but the momentum we're making." Now, Fozzie, if there was ever a time to dream, that time is now. Toronto continues to build momentum with their new look squad. TFC has secured a 10 of a possible 15 points in their last 5 games. A part of you wonders what would happen if this season had Bob Bradley had his current squad week 1. Toronto still needs a lot of help, but they should remain focused on winning. Costa says, 6 on a wave. BMO was rocking, and it absolutely was. I was lucky enough to attend Saturday's game, and the atmosphere was amazing. At one point in the second half, I just looked around the stadium and realized that there wasn't an empty seat. Honestly, part of me is now waiting to share my positive COVID test, but I think it was worth it. The game was great. TFC put on a show, and they're becoming a very exciting team to watch. Brandon says, "We are so lucky to have Loria back." Brandon, your tweet is so simple but so true. Playing in his second game since returning to Toronto, Richie Loria has made a tremendous impact on the offense. For the second straight week, Loria assisted to Jonathan Osorio goal. The Canadian international is giving TFC the spark that they really kind of needed. Loria wants TFC supporters to know that the love and admiration works both ways. In a post-game video, Loria says that BMO Field is the best place in the world to play. Now, just a few weeks ago, the 2022 MLS season just felt like a complete write-off. Between lackluster performances and a roster with massive holes, it wasn't good. Toronto FC fans were patiently waiting for the summer transfer window to open, but it looked like it was a little too late. Toronto was 4 points out of a playoff spot, but they have 7 teams ahead of them. There's still a lot of games left to play, but Toronto needs to focus on themselves. Step one is to keep winning. TFC can't scoreboard watch. It's not going to be easy, but I wouldn't be counting out the Reds just yet. Thanks for listening.